Hi, I'm Michael Ramos, President of Credit Rescue Now, with another segment on credit. Now, one of the best ways to establish credit is it's called the Red Robin method. And parents out there, I must strongly urge you, use this method for your kids. Do not co-sign for them. I cannot tell you the thousands of people that have come to my office who have co-signed for their children and now are on repo status, they're in collections, they're being sued because the payments weren't made and they could not make the payments for them. Trust me, if you co-sign, you are responsible. So the best thing to do is prepare your kids to be able to apply for their own credit. And it's in their name. And you can coach them on how to take care of their credit and keep it in good standing, so they'll have a good credit future. So let's start off with the Red Robin method. You can take $500 and go to a credit union and open up a secured loan and a secured credit card using the same $500. So what they'll do is they'll take $500, put it in a secure CD, loan you $500 against your own money so there's no risk to you. Instead of giving you the $500 back, they'll take that $500, put it in another account, and then give you a secured credit card with a $500 limit. Now this will establish credit. It'll take about 60 days for it to show up on your credit report, but the credit scores will usually go from 0 to up to high 5 and 600s. And this will start establishing the credit. After a few months of credit status, they can go then and apply for a vehicle or a loan they may need. And this will help them and help you from getting into trouble by co-signing. And the Red Robin method works very well. Now, one of the quickest ways to get a super high score is to be added to a credit card that has a lot of life to it. As a joint user. So if you went to somebody in your family, grandpa, grandma, mom, dad, and had you add them as a joint user, authorized users aren't showing up on the credit reports anymore. So if you go as a joint user, they will show up on your credit report as having that card as long as they have in good standing. I had one young lady was added to two of her mother's credit cards that she's had for 10 years each. When we pulled her credit, she went from 0 to 754. Which was a very, very high jump. Of course, we have an 18-year-old with a high credit score. That's pretty scary at the mall. But you want to, and then give your kids the education they need once you do this. Now, they don't get a copy of the credit card. When it comes in, of course, you cut it up. They do not put enough of the credit card number on the credit report, so they will not be able to get the number on their own. Now, this will allow them to establish instant credit. I only recommend this if they're trying to get a home, they're trying to close, and they don't have length in history on an account enough to get it. But if they're 18, 19 years old, the Red Robin method is the best method to take. And let them build their own credit. You need an installment loan and a revolving account to support your credit. So if you don't have a revolving and only have installment, it's not going to balance the credit report out. So you need a revolving and an installment. An installment loan is like a vehicle, a personal loan, things like that. Revolving would be like a credit card or a HELOC loan, things of that nature. Credit cards, you cannot pay them ahead. You can pay them half off. You still have a payment next month. But installment loans, you can pay those ahead. So that's the best way to establish credit. Now I want to talk about the effects of credit and mistakes that we can make that will cost us greatly. Now with a credit card, you don't want to take your credit card over 30% of the limit value. And once you reach above 50%, the credit scores are going to start to plummet. And when you reach, and we've done experiments over the last 23 years over this, and we have calculated and seen the exact score drops. A credit card at its max, we're losing between 25 and 35 points off the credit score when it's maxed out. So it's very important to keep it below 30%. 2 credit cards is all you need. I would stay away from department store cards if you can, and just get a Visa and a MasterCard. This will allow you can buy anything you want with these cards. You can get them at lower interest rates. That will save you. Most of us go into these department stores and get 10% off to open up a credit card, and then don't pay the whole balance off at the end of it and end up getting 29% interest, which kind of overshadows the 10% discount you got. So it's very important to stay with just 2 credit cards. That's all you need. And that will structure your credit report. Then you'll have your home or your vehicle on there, and that's fantastic. But you want to make sure that you leave it below 30% at all times. If you have to go to 50, it's not that big of a point difference, but not over 50. Now, when you close a credit card, you will lose up to 15% of your credit score if you've had the card over 2 years. You do not want to close a credit card. You can play the 0% offers, and as long as the card's 1 year old, then you can go ahead and close it without too much ramification. But after a couple of years, you have built history. And that's what gets you in the 700s and 800s, is the length in history you've had your card. So never close a credit card. If for some reason you end up with high interest, take it out once a month for a sandwich and send them a check just to take, and you won't get hit with the interest that way, and you can still keep the history building on your account. Now, if you close a credit card with a balance, you're going to lose the 15% for history and an additional 45 points. We have found that Fair Isaac scoring, which is a great scoring factor, is not identifying the difference between a closed account with a balance or a collection account with a balance. They're both closed accounts with a balance. And we're finding out that the score is dropping the same as a collection account as it's a closed account with a balance. So it's a pretty good hit either way. So do not close your accounts with a balance, and do not close them. It's just going to hurt your credit. So at all costs, keep your credit card open and keep it in good shape. Now, paying things late. A late pay, most people think 3-5 points off your score. We are seeing 35 to 40 points off a credit score with one late pay. And if it's caught live, meaning when you pull the credit report, it's currently an R2 or an I2 or an M2, means currently 30 days delinquent, we're seeing a 65 point drop in your credit score. Hard to get back. And a lot of loans, you're thrown out of the loan packages for up to a year in some cases because of a late pay. So that's, you want to target paying things late that don't report to your credit bureau. Your rent, your P&M, your utilities, phone bills, cell phones, things like that. If you have to pay something late, do not pay something late that actually reports to your bureau. And it must be a full 30 days late before it will be reported. So if you're 10 days, 15 days late, it's not going to report to the bureau. So a lot of people have found, have asked that question, am I going to be late after 10 days or 15 days? No, you'll have a late fee from the company. You'll be late with them, but not with your credit report. Never let your accounts go to collections, of course. Once they go to collections, it's a 45 point hit, and that's what we've been finding out over the years. And it's a hard hit when you get a collection account. So whatever you can do, try to keep them from going into collections. Public record, such as tax liens, judgments, bankruptcies, affect your score up to 75 points. And this is exact point calculation that we have found, seeing it happen before we pull the report and after pulling the report. So, and with a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, if you're in the 400s or 500s, you're gonna get a score increase because it's zeroing out the balances on your credit report. If you're in the high 700s, it's of course going to drop your credit score. So when you're looking at public record, for the most part, you're getting a very heavy hit. Always apply for credit using the name that's on your Social Security card. If your name is Robert, don't put Bob. William, don't put Bill. Because what happens at this point, you're going to end up with AKA, also known as, on your credit report, which could cross-reference you with another person. So you want to always make sure that you use whatever name's on your Social Security card when you're doing a credit application for any reason. On documents, anything. To keep from showing up in also known as AKA. How many times can you pull your credit a year? We have found that 6 pulls a year pretty much leaves you without infraction. After that, it starts to affect your credit score. So you want to be especially careful when you're out buying a car. You want to go to the lot, and when you meet with them, say, listen, I only want my credit pulled with one place. Whichever place you think is going to give me the best rate. You're better off to go to your bank or your credit union and get pre-qualification first. If you're not able to do that and need creative financing, do not let them run a feeler on you. Ask them to run it to one place. Put it in writing. I will only run you with one place. Otherwise, they will shoot you out to 15, 20 different banks who will all pull your credit report, which will drop your credit score profusely. And we've all seen that out there before when you received a letter in the mail after buying a car. Sorry we couldn't help you with your loan, but thank you for applying. A lot of people get this. They've seen it before. That's an inquiry. So you kind of want to, refrain from that and make sure they pull it from one place. Take control of how many times your credit's being pulled.